Hey, Donald Trump being urged to stay on script by the GOP establishment. But, you know, that didn't work for the Republicans in the last two elections, so why should he listen now? To Fred Malek, Republican governor's finance chair. Fred, you know, Donald Trump's had tremendous success. He's turned the old textbook on its ear and during the primary session. And you could also say, listen, the last two guys, McCain and Mitt Romney, they followed that same textbook and it failed them.
Well, I think Donald Trump has struck a chord with a lot of people and brought a lot of new voters to the polls, and I think that's to his credit. But when you look at it in perspective, Charles, it's only really 9% of the Republican electorate in these primary states who's come forth. He's got to broaden his appeal. He's got to bring together independents and moderate Republicans and a broad coalition in order to win the presidency. And to do that, I think he doesn't have to follow a script. He doesn't have to follow a Republican playbook, but he needs to be more inclusive, he needs to be more tolerant, and he needs to be more policy-oriented in terms of what he's going to do to improve the economy. You know,
but Donald Trump's put out several papers, pretty in-depth papers on several different policies, and they're out there for public consumption. It feels like sometimes when these politicians go out and they try to articulate this stuff, the citizens, their eyes glaze over and they lose focus, they lose attention. But they do understand if someone says, hey, I want to make America great and I want to bring back jobs to your county, to your district.
Yeah, you know, what I think this election should be about, and the way Trump can win, is to make it a referendum on the last 8 years. The country has drifted horribly to the left. We've lost respect in the world. We have an entitlement society. We have the broad middle class. I mean, I'm doing fine, thank you, and the people our entitlements are doing okay, but the broad middle class has had a reduction in standard of living. So we need to work toward that. We need to work toward building more respect in the world. And I think if he makes it a referendum on the last 8 years, you want more of the same, he has a chance of winning.
Fred, I don't disagree with that, but I think what we're discussing here is how does he articulate this, right? In other words, does he let it fly off the cuff, or does he get sidetracked by issues that, you know, that could be personal issues or so minute that in the grand scheme of things they don't work, or should he be sort of, you know, shackled to a narrow, sort of a narrow space where he won't make mistakes? Now, I can tell you, I remember Sarah Palin at that convention, off script. She was a superstar. Her and McCain shot up in the polls, and then after that, they sort of put her on script, and I think she lost it. The party lost it, and so there's an argument that you want to be careful how you try to manage someone whose best asset happens to be their natural ability to communicate.
Yeah. Well, his spontaneity and tell-it-like-it-is style has really helped him, and I think has attracted voters. But I don't think there's anything inconsistent with that and exerting a certain amount of discipline. Go into a speech knowing what you're going to talk about, having the broad themes pretty well articulated, and don't veer off that. Don't go off in tangents and get off into things like he did with Judge Curiel. That's the kind of thing that really hurts him and gives people pause for concern. But I think you're right on the track that he needs to continue to be spontaneous. He needs to stay in the broad themes, but he also needs to stay disciplined in his approach.
All right, walking a fine line there. Hey, Fred, have a great weekend. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.